Well, climate change is a major threat to international peace and security, but the UN says it is a race that can be won if it's managed in the correct way. Joining me now live to discuss the latest in the climate space is climate activist Daniel Bleakley. Daniel, great to see you as always.
Yeah, great. Thanks very much for having me, Anthony.
Absolutely. Now, Daniel, wanted to discuss a range of things today. Firstly, last week, Australia's major political parties voted in favour of a fund that's set to fund the nation's most pollutive industries. What do we know here?
Yeah, so we've seen, again, another $50 million of public money that's going into this fund for developing the gas industry in the Northern Territory. And it's not just the Liberal and the National Party, but also Labor that's voted with this. So on one hand, Labor's saying that they're going to act on the climate crisis, but at the same time, they're shoveling public money into the hands of fossil fuel companies.
We've seen protests on multiple occasions happen in Australia as a way of, I guess, sending a message to those in power. Is that message not getting through?
That's a really good question. I feel like the message is getting through, but these political parties are operating in the interests of the fossil fuel industry. We mentioned this last week. They are utterly beholden to the fossil fuel industry. So I'm sure there's still some climate deniers in the government, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people in the Liberal Party who understand the science and understand that we need to act. But there are companies that are just holding the government hostage at the moment. So, yeah.
Why do you think, I guess, help people understand why the government and governments are so, I guess, tied to those fossil fuel industries? Do we know that yet?
Well, there's a lot of money in donations. So both the Liberal and Labor Party accept donations from a number of coal, oil, and gas companies. We know the Labor Party takes donations from Chevron, Woodside, and Santos, which are Australia's largest oil and gas companies. So the donations is one part, but also these contracts that they're doing are worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions, and sometimes billions of dollars. So there's so much money there, and that is having a huge influence over our democracy.
All right, I wanted to chat about EV tech again with you, Daniel. I've seen on your Twitter this week you've put forward an idea for Australia to build a Tesla factory. What are you wishing for?
Yeah, well, this is just an idea of what we can possibly do with the amount of money at the government's disposal. We know that around $13 billion of public money went to JobKeeper rorts to billionaires who actually didn't qualify for JobKeeper. Now, Tesla's just built a gigafactory in Berlin, and it cost around $10 billion Australian to build it. And that factory will be able to produce around 2 million high-tech electric vehicles every year. And I mean, what more could you want? We need to rapidly act on the climate crisis, and there is incredible technology out there that we can build here in Australia. We can use Australian lithium and nickel. Tesla already uses 70% of Tesla's nickel comes from Australia, and 70% of their lithium comes from Australia, and 40% of their nickel. So we have all the resources here. It would make sense to build an electric vehicle factory here in Australia.
Now, obviously, apart from the climate benefit as well, it's also a benefit for jobs you're proposing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Tesla has 4 factories around the world, and they currently employ around 110,000 people. So a project like this could employ tens of thousands of people, and then there's all the flow-on effect to other industries that would feed the electric vehicle industry. So yeah, the lithium mining, nickel mining, and all these other support industries that come with it. So the government talks about creating jobs all the time, but they're investing their money in technology that's going to be redundant within a couple of years. It just doesn't make any sense at all.
So I guess you're saying they're investing in the wrong jobs at the wrong time right now, because going forward those jobs won't exist. So why not look to the future, right?
Exactly. The whole world is moving away from coal, oil, and gas, and so why would we invest public money into those industries? It's madness, and it's going to mean that when the day comes when there will be no market for coal, oil, and gas, we will be unprepared for the next 10, 20 years. So we should act now and start developing clean technology industries here in Australia.
Hey, Daniel, you drive a Tesla. I want to get your response. What are people saying about the Tesla right now? I mean, and EV tech as a whole. Like, are they just loving it right now? Do you think that they just kind of love the technology, or are they really kind of intrigued by the climate aspect as well?
I think it's a mix of both. And yeah, people are super excited about electric vehicles, and in particular Tesla at the moment. We had Tesla's Artificial Intelligence Day just over a week ago, where they basically showcased what they've been working on in the autonomous driving space. And Tesla's basically achieved full self-driving vehicles. They're testing them now around the world. And this is super exciting technology. It's clean technology. It's super safe. You're 10 times less likely to get into an accident with these vehicles because of the autonomous features. So there's just so many different aspects to this new technology and how it's going to improve everybody's life over the next 10, 20 years. So definitely it's something to be very excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, just before we go, Daniel, you had Andrew Wilkie on your YouTube channel just a couple of days ago about the clean technologies. What did he have to say?
Yeah, well, we had a great chat yesterday. We went out for a drive down here in Hobart, and we had a fantastic conversation about the Tesla. He had a great time driving it, and we also talked about things like fuel security. So Australia's fuel security, we have around 20 days of fuel at any one time. That's it. And we're always looking at the supply side on fuel security rather than demand side. If we reduced our demand on petrol and diesel by rapidly accelerating the uptake of electric vehicles, we would actually have a lot more fuel security. So yeah, we had a great chat, and that episode is up on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone go and check it out. What can we search on YouTube to find it?
It's called Coal Miners Driving Teslas. So there's a few coal miners in there, but we also have a lot of non-coal miners as well.
Amazing stuff. All right, Daniel, we will see you next week. Thanks again for jumping up and speaking to us. All the best, and we'll see you next week.
No worries. Thanks, Anthony.